You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
30-year Intel veteran Don't Fall for Trump Secret Documents Trap, based on an article by The Conversation. Declassification theater is not transparency. President Donald Trump used a televised address in a White House document dump to present a story about election vulnerability, Chinese data acquisition, and supposed intelligence suppression. The source text that follows then does something more important than repeating that claim. It explains why a release like this cannot be treated as proof of anything by itself. The power is the point. The central fact is not the existence of the documents. It is who gets to release them. 1. And under what political script. Trump held the institutional power to turn classification into a stage prop. The White House had the megaphone, the schedule, and the authority to frame the release before anyone else could scrutinize it. That is the real leverage. Declassification does not automatically expose truth. It exposes selected material under executive control. That is not transparency in the democratic sense. It is narrative management with government seals attached. Raw material is not evidence. The article's strongest point is also the one that undercuts any simplistic reading of Trump's show. A declassified record can be a fragment, a source claim, an intercept, or a draft. It can be accurate, misleading, incomplete, outdated, or flatly wrong. The release of a document does not convert it into settled fact. That matters because the entire political trick here is to collapse three separate things into one: reporting, analysis, and truth. Once those are blurred, anything can be dressed up as revelation. A raw intelligence fragment becomes a weapon. A partial record becomes proof. A curated leak becomes an accusation with the state's backing. The real misdirection, the convenient target in stories like this, is the vague, faceless intelligence community. That framing invites the public to imagine a hidden establishment suppressing the truth, when the more basic issue is that the executive branch can selectively expose fragments and call it disclosure. The article itself warns that finished intelligence exists to compare sources, test assumptions, and assign confidence. In other words, the bureaucracy is designed to slow down exactly this kind of politically useful overinterpretation. Trump's move depends on stripping the context away and making the absence of context look like proof of conspiracy. That is misdirection in institutional form and not a mistake. By a method, selective declassification serves power. The piece notes that declassification is normally interagency work because release can expose sources, methods, and context. That is not bureaucratic ornamentation. It is the difference between informing the public and using state secrets as campaign material. The contrast with the Biden administration's faster declassification around Russia's invasion planning is revealing. There, speed was tied to a concrete public purpose, warning allies and shaping events before they hardened. Here, the purpose is different. The point is not to clarify a crisis. It is to dominate the story. That distinction matters. Speed can serve democracy when it clarifies danger. In Trump's hands, speed serves spectacle, the bigger pattern. This is what authoritarian politics looks like when it wears a procedural mask. It does not always announce itself with open censorship. Sometimes it floods the zone with selectively released material and dares the public to confuse access with truth. It counts on the audience to skip the hard work of asking what kind of document they are looking at, who selected it, and what was left out. The pattern is bigger than one address or one release. It is the use of executive power to weaponize ambiguity, assign suspicion to institutions that preserve context, and convert fragments into political ammunition. That is not accountability. It is rule by selective exposure, and it is exactly the kind of maneuver democratic institutions should stop treating as a serious disclosure effort. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Kristen, thanks for listening.